Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into Dandadan, the thrilling and emotional series that has captured the hearts of fans worldwide. While the action and humor are top-notch, it's the characters and their heartbreaking pasts that truly make this series stand out. In this video, we'll be exploring the 10 saddest backstories from Dandadan, shedding light on the tragic events that shaped these unforgettable characters. From loss and betrayal to sacrifice and pain, get ready to experience the emotional depth that makes Dandadan a story like no other. Let's get started. And yes, spoilers warning. Number 10. Okarun got bullied his entire life. Okarun's backstory may seem tame by the chaotic standards of Dandadan, but it's in this quiet, unspoken sadness that the series finds its emotional core. Before his fateful encounter with Momo Ayase, Ken Takakura was just a lonely, introverted kid, often overlooked and picked on, his timid nature making him an easy target for bullies. Yet, instead of letting his pain consume him, Okarun found an unexpected refuge in his fascination with the occult. His obsession with aliens wasn't just a quirky hobby, it was a desperate, silent plea for connection. The thought that maybe, just maybe, there were beings out there who wouldn't judge him, who might even want to be his friend, is a heart-wrenching revelation that lays bare his deepest fears and hopes. But everything changes when Momo Ayase enters his life. Her presence, soon followed by a circle of wonderful friends, transforms Okarun's lonely existence into one filled with warmth and laughter, ending his years of isolation and bringing him the companionship he had always yearned for. Number 9. Momo Ayase. Being raised by a spirit medium was hard on Momo growing up. Momo's backstory might not be filled with the typical, gut-wrenching tragedies we often see, but it's a testament to the silent struggles that shape her resilient spirit. Losing both parents at a tender age, she found herself in the care of her grandmother, Seiko Ayase, a legendary spirit medium with a reputation that was both revered and ridiculed. For Momo, growing up in the shadow of such an unusual guardian wasn't just difficult, it was isolating. Her peers mocked her for following her grandmother's strange spiritual teachings, turning her into a target of ridicule. Even her childhood crush, Gigi, couldn't see past the oddities, leaving Momo to face the laughter alone. But the sting of their mockery paled in comparison to the fire that burned within her whenever she saw her beloved grandmother disrespected. Momo's childhood wasn't defined by loss alone but by the deep-seated frustration of being misunderstood, of knowing that the woman who took her in and gave her love was seen as nothing more than an eccentric. It wasn't until she herself faced the world of spirits that she finally realized the truth: her grandmother had been right all along. In that moment, every scornful laugh, every teasing remark from her past dissolved, replaced by a newfound understanding and a deeper bond with the woman who had always been her guiding light. It was a revelation that turned her pain into strength, her humiliation into a badge of honor, marking the beginning of Momo's journey not just as a survivor but as a believer. Number 8. Mr. Mantis Shrimp struggled to provide for his son. Meet Mr. Mantis Shrimp, a hired subordinate of the Serpo aliens who wreak havoc on Okarun and Momo's school. Known mockingly as Peeny Weenie, he initially enters the story as a terrifying and ruthless antagonist. But when the battle ends in a crushing defeat for the aliens, something unexpected happens: Mr. Mantis Shrimp is taken to the Ayase residence for treatment. It's here, in the quiet of the Ayase home, that he shares a heartbreaking truth. Behind his monstrous exterior lies a grieving father. Once a loving husband, he was left to care for his sick son, Chiquitita, after losing his wife. Desperation and love drove him to take any job, even one from the cruel Serpo aliens, if it meant he could afford the life-saving treatment his son desperately needed. With tears in his eyes, he lays bare his soul, revealing the painful choices that led him to this moment. Okarun and Momo, moved by his story, can't find it in their hearts to abandon him. They decide to help. Together, they work to secure the precious milk needed for Chiquitita's blood transfusion, giving hope to a father who had long since lost it. In helping Peeny Weenie, they don't just save a child's life, they earn the loyalty of an unlikely ally. And in this act of kindness, Mr. Mantis Shrimp finds more than just a cure for his son. He finds a new home, and a reason to believe in the goodness of the world again. Number 7. Turbo Granny was protecting the spirits of innocence. Turbo Granny's story is shrouded in mystery, with little known about her life before she began haunting the tunnels of Shono City. At first glance, she seems like nothing more than a malicious yokai, a legendary curse infamous for her superhuman speed and terrifying presence. She wears the mask of a selfish, cruel spirit, always ready to unleash her wrath on unsuspecting victims. But behind that ruthless facade lies a much deeper, more heartbreaking tale. Turbo Granny's eternity as a yokai has been one of quiet, relentless devotion, a guardian spirit who chose to console the lost, grieving souls of young women, victims of abuse and assault, whose cries for help went unheard. In her own twisted way, she became their protector, a silent force seeking justice in a world that had failed them. Even when stripped of her spiritual powers, Turbo Granny's resolve never wavered. Her fierce spirit remained unbroken, driven by a mission far greater than vengeance. Whether fighting alongside Seiko or staying behind with Momo as she faced the dark grip of the fairy tale cards world in the Danmanra arc, Turbo Granny showed us a side rarely seen in yokai, the power of a broken heart that refuses to stop caring, a spirit willing to sacrifice everything to shield those who cannot defend themselves. Her story is not just one of a curse, but of a relentless, unyielding love, the kind that lingers on, even after death. Number 6. Kuki Yukishiro is invisible to everyone around her. The newest addition to Dandadan's lineup of antagonists, Kuki Yukishiro, has become the heart-wrenching focal point of the Pygmy Princess arc. While little is known about Kuki's full story, the brief glimpses we've seen hint at a painful and tragic past that adds a haunting depth to her character. Once a piano prodigy whose talent captivated audiences, Kuki's life took a devastating turn when her younger sister Alice was crowned as the new family favorite. The once celebrated child, now overshadowed and neglected, was left to grapple with the agony of being cast aside. The isolation and jealousy consumed her, pushing her to desperate lengths, even to the point of stealing Momo's spiritual powers as a misguided attempt to reclaim a sense of worth. Now, fans are left torn between pity and hope, hoping that this shattered soul can find healing, redemption, and maybe even a place among the heroes in future chapters. Will Kuki break free from the chains of her past, or will she remain a tragic figure lost to her own despair? Only time will tell, but readers are rooting for a chance at her salvation. Number 5. The Evil Eye's hatred towards humankind is justified. As the series' most haunting yet beloved adversary, the Evil Eye captivates with a strength that's as raw as it is tragic. But before becoming an evil spirit feared by all, he was once just an innocent, wide-eyed child. His only wish? To laugh and play without a care in the world, to share the simple joy of being a kid. Fate, however, had other plans. The Kito family, blinded by their twisted devotion, imprisoned him as a mere tool, a sacrifice for their god. From his dark, cold cage, the boy could only watch as the other children ran free, their laughter echoing like a cruel reminder of the life he was never allowed to have. With each passing day, his heart filled with a longing so deep, it felt like drowning in an ocean of sorrow. When he was reborn as a yokai, the boy who once dreamed of friendship was now the Evil Eye, a spirit filled with rage, his bitterness a reflection of the pain humanity inflicted upon him. Yet beneath the anger and hatred, the essence of that joyful, gullible child still flickered like a dying ember, refusing to be fully extinguished. It was this small, fragile light that stirred something in the heroes. They saw beyond the monstrous facade and into the heart of a child who had been robbed of everything. Instead of choosing the path of exorcism, they chose compassion. They decided to save the boy who still lingered within the Evil Eye, hoping that maybe, just maybe, they could bring him the happiness he had always longed for. Number 4. Acrobatic Silky lost her daughter in her past life. The second spirit to challenge the protagonist after the fierce Turbo Granny was Acrobatic Silky. An intimidating foe, she danced through battles with a deadly grace, wielding her hair as a weapon, swift, sharp, and fluid like the movements of a ballerina. But behind her elegant combat was a soul scarred by a past filled with pain and sacrifice, a life far more tragic than anyone could imagine. Once, she was a single mother, struggling every day to provide for herself and her precious little girl. Trapped in the relentless grip of debt, she faced a crushing reality that left her with few choices. Forced into a life of selling her own body to survive, her spirit broke a little more each day. Yet, despite her suffering, her daughter remained her only beacon of hope, a flicker of love in a world filled with darkness. But this fragile happiness was ripped away when ruthless debt collectors took the one thing she lived for, her child. With her heart shattered and no reason left to continue, she performed her final dance, a tragic leap from a rooftop, ending her pain but leaving her soul lost and tormented. In the afterlife, even without the memories of her past, a fragment of her love endured. She felt a deep, unspoken connection to Aira, a motherless girl desperately in need of care. In this small act of protection, Acrobatic Silky found a glimmer of redemption, as if her spirit, through battle and grace, could finally reach out and offer the love she never got. Number 3. Rin Sawaki blamed herself for the death of Mai Kawabanga. Rin Sawaki, the ever-dutiful class representative, built her stern and proper persona not out of choice, but necessity. As the only one able to help her overworked mother, she shouldered the weight of the household, cooking, cleaning, and caring for her bedridden grandmother. Yet, even in the midst of all this responsibility, Rin's heart was elsewhere. Her dreams were filled with the dazzling lights of the stage, her voice harmonizing with her friends as they danced to the rhythm of their shared ambition, to become idols. But fate is cruel, and Rin's world shatters in an instant. The day of their long-awaited breakthrough performance, tragedy strikes. Her best friend, Mai Kawabanga, is lost in a car accident. Rin's dreams, once so bright, now seem unreachable, crushed under the weight of grief and loss. But Mai's presence does not fade. Instead, it twists into something darker. The pain and sorrow of that fateful day give birth to Mai's spirit, transforming into the vengeful Onbusuman yokai, a curse that binds Rin to her tragic past. To break free from the darkness, Rin must confront the raw, unhealed wounds of her heart. It is only by facing her deepest fears, and the haunting memories of a dream lost too soon, that she can release herself from the curse that has haunted her every step. The journey ahead will test her strength in ways she never imagined, but in the end, it will reveal the true power of facing one's pain head-on. Number 2. Vamola is the sole surviving child of her home planet. In the vast reaches of space, where distant galaxies and alien worlds often feel cold and disconnected, Dandadan brings a profound truth to light. Humanity can be found even in the most unlikely places. And nowhere is that more evident than in Vamola. Born on the distant planet of Sumer, her story is one of loss, hope, and a relentless fight to protect what matters most. Vamola's childhood was shaped by the unforgiving battlefield of a world ravaged by war, where she was raised by the Sumerian resistance amidst the brutal occupation of the Kur. But even in the darkest of times, her heart remained fiercely human. She never lost sight of the power of love and compassion, especially when it came to her adoptive mother, Banga. Though Vamola was torn from Banga's side during her desperate escape to Earth, the pain of leaving her behind is never truly gone. In every step she takes, it's the hope of honoring the Sumerian legacy, and the dream of one day reuniting with Banga, that fuels her every action. Her story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a reminder that no matter how far we are from home, love will always light the way. Number 1. Unji Zuma endured the most tragedies out of Dandadan's cast. Dandadan's supernatural world may captivate with its wild, otherworldly adventures, but the story of Unji Zuma is one of deep, raw tragedy, a tale that's rooted firmly in the most painful of human experiences. Unji's life was forever marked by loss, beginning with the early death of his father. Left to fend for themselves in poverty, Unji and his younger brother Futa found some semblance of solace in each other, only for fate to strike again. In an unbearably tragic moment, Futa drowned in a devastating accident, leaving Unji alone with his grief-stricken mother. Crushed by the weight of this loss, Unji's mother, in her despair, tried to take the lives of both herself and her son. Her attempt succeeded only in taking her own life, leaving Unji to face a future with no family, no hope, just a searing emptiness. The pain of losing everyone he loved turned Unji's heart cold, breeding a seething anger toward the world around him. But even in the darkest of times, a guiding light can emerge. Bega, Unji's guardian, stepped in at the lowest point of his life, offering the care and support that slowly began to heal Unji's fractured soul. Through Bega's unwavering guidance, Unji began to rebuild himself. Not just as a survivor, but as a person capable of compassion and selflessness. His journey is a powerful reminder that no matter how deep the sorrow, there is always a chance of rebirth.